Hello, so here's my program for this module for my data analysis. And so I took some data for Pokemon for the first 7 generations, and I have written a few analysis questions, and I've written some code to kind of find answers to those questions. So my first one was about BMIs, which is a measurement of a very generalized measurement of general health. And all it does is take into account um, your height and your weight, and then it gives you a measurement, which is supposed to let you know how healthy your body is. So this is the first one I have, and I'm going to run through it here. Okay, so what it does is, it says out here the top 20 Pokemon ranked by their BMI, the first 7 generations from highest to lowest. And so here they are. So it ranges from almost a million, 99, or almost 100,000, 99,990, all the way down to 225 for the first, the top 20. And the question is, how many of them are healthy? How many of them would be considered healthy, underweight, overweight, obese, according to the BMI measurement. So 21.6% are underweight. That's 173. That's only 15.48% are considered healthy, while 12% are overweight. So that's the smallest amount. That's the smallest category that we have data for. And then 20.1 are obese, and 28.21 are severely obese. So that's by far the biggest bracket there, which is not surprising considering it's fictional and they're supposed to be brawling monsters. Some of them are not very big, but happen to weigh a lot anyway. Like this one that weighs 1,000 kilograms, but is only 10 centimeters tall. So that's the first one, and I won't go through too much here, but I am using Python, the pandas module, and I've been able to add a new metric, the BMI metric, which is right here that we look at up here, and then we kind of can loop through all these to find certain, like this is how we find the total BMI and the count for each one, the count of how many lines we have, how many Pokemon we have in order to find the average. And we end up, as we print this, we end up sorting it here by BMI descending. The next question I have is about, it's a ratio that I kind of came up with, just, I thought might be interesting. And it is a ratio, it's attack to defense. So this is how many attack points does each Pokemon have for each one defense point. So this is just trying to tell how much, attack compared to the defense they have. So if we run this, then we'll see here that the top 10, these Pokemon here, ranked by their attack to defense ratio. And what I really wanted to see was what the correlation between their ratio and their first type listed was. Some of them don't have two. They only have some of them only have one. So I just looked at the one type, and here's some answers I have here. So it's interesting because the average attack to defense ratio is 1.2, even though the highest is 4.5, and the top ones are a lot higher than that. And 34.96% of these are above the average, and 57 are under average. 57% are under average, and only 8% are really at average. So there's even most of the Pokemon, more than half of them, are actually under average. So there's a lot more with closer attack and defense stats that are similar in points. But here are the average rate attack to defense ratios across the type. I wanted to kind of see this so that I could kind of compare. So I thought it was interesting because the top one is fighting type, which is 1.5, and there's not a lot of variance in between these. It goes down by 0.1 every time. Dark and normal and fire, like they're all pretty high too. But fighting has more defense or more attack per defense point. And the bottom, steel, which I thought was interesting because I think steel Pokemon are supposed to be more defense heavy, a little bit more bulky. So it's not that they have low attack, it's just that their defense is really high compared to their attack. So they're a little bit closer, or they actually have less attack than defense, which is why this is less than a full 1 point. And I explained that there. And then my third analysis question here is it's kind of about the legendary Pokemon that we have data for. So let's run that. And this one's relatively simple. I just wanted to see out of all the legendary Pokemon, I wanted to see which ones were could be gendered, because typically they're known for being unique and genderless. But 7 out of the 70 can be gendered, so only 10%. And of these 7, here we got these 7 right here. Of these 7, 57%, so more than half, are always male. So that's 4 out of the 7, and 28% are always female. So only 2, that's Latias and Cresselia. And 14.29% have equal chance. That's only 1. So there's only 1 that can be either or, and 4 of them can be only male, and 2 of them can only be female. So I thought that's interesting. And I also wanted to see if that was a trend that was more common in latter generations, and it appears that none of the first or second generation have this option. All the legendaries must not have any gender, because that's usually the case. And it looks like 5, a lot of male onlys, and 3, both the females aren't 3 and 4. And so it looks like it was kind of a newer thing, in the 6 and 7, neither 6 or 7 have any of them either. So maybe they stopped doing it. We'll see. But I thought that was very interesting, and I'm grateful for this project and being able to learn about data analysis. Anyway, thanks for listening.